О, нас чути. А тепер ще прикольно було, чи на Ютубі нас чути. Угу. Я хоча б там, може, щось в коментарях напишуть. Допомога потрібна? Окей, окей. Ні, так люди вже нарешті зібралися. Окей. А хтось може чекнути на Ютубі, чи взагалі voice іде там? Чи я говорю і там щось чути? Ми стрімимо, якщо що. Чудово. Чудово. Окей, всім привіт. Дисклеймер. Все буде відбуватися англійською мовою. Всі люди не мають нативного знання англійської мови, тому сорян наперед. Не все. Добре. Ні, 33%. 33,33333 і так далі. Окей. Окей. Hi everybody. My name is Bogdan. So welcome everybody to this meetup. Today we will have three speakers. First speaker is Ivan. Ivan, our community head in Lviv. Everyone knows Ivan, I hope. Yeah, we can turn off music. All right. So if you will have any questions, you can ask them in whatever language you want. I could translate it, or if I can't, well, he could translate it, wherever. So yeah, thank you everybody, and let's welcome Ivan.
Yay.
I'm listening myself. Okay. How many engineers we need to start this? At least 3, right?
Раз. Oh, cool. I want to add something. First of all, welcome to our meetup. Today is a special day, I guess, because it's like in the world, we celebrate 10 years of the Go community. In this month, it's 11th, I guess, Go as language was published, was open sourced, and community begins develop. And I will try to, yeah, it works. One question, who is first time in our community? Okay, couple of person. So quick introduction, we began like 3 years ago. Oleg was first organizer of the meetup in January 2016, 4 years ago. Soon will be 4, I guess, in the next year. So almost 4 years ago, it was amazing. And on the journey from Lviv, especially it was at Lviv, during the journey from Lviv to Kiev, we decided we should reinvent and start occur our meetups in both regions, in Lviv and Kiev. So I think it's a small introduction. So we have this hashtag like Golang. I encourage you to use it in Twitter and your posts, make photos, publish it. You can ask questions. We have like Slack, Telegram, what else? Different communicational channels. You can reach us there and ask your question and send your proposition. By the way, you have this initial slide of our meetup. There are like link and QR code to the forum. If you have some ideas, suggestions, questions, please send it. I will review it and maybe we'll prepare a better presentation in the future. Okay, as you see, my English not very good, so we will adapt it. Yeah. This topic was like dedicated to the configuration question. It was raised in some of our projects, and I decided to investigate it a deeper way. So who has some issue with configuration? Any issue? So only a couple of persons. Everything is fine. Yeah. I just propose this like small picture try to discover this problem in general in a wide range. So we can assume configuration like as a language that we use for compiling. We can use different options, and it will produce different outputs and may have some side effects for us. In general, when we think talking about configuration, we assume that this is configuration of our API, how we configure our application and how it will be used. But in most cases, we forget about that we have a lot of different configurations that may be applied and also will be influenced on our result or our solution overall. So when we think about it, remember and take into account that a lot of things may have some influence on your decisions. Okay, so how we could make configuration in simple way? Yeah, it's like hello world for configuration. Let's name it this way. So first of all, we can use our arguments that we may provide to our comment. Yeah, it's very simple, straightforward, lead to some panics in some cases, but everything else is okay. Yeah, we may play with that. Any questions? Everyone understand this code? So far? Will this code compile? Okay, good. Next step. Another option is to use flag. It's built-in libraries that provide us like functionality for this purpose. Flag is provide more rich functionality. We can define our variables, describe them, define default values, and also our binaries will provide with help instructions, so we can list all flags that's supported by it. There are a couple of ways how we can declare it, and I think as most common and obvious one is to declare it in main function in our entry point and try to avoid define our flags in some sub packages in the init function, so it's hard to find them and identify them even if it works. Okay, does it code compile? Should be. Does it code work properly? No. Why? Yep, you're right. So without this small instruction, previous code will not work properly or as we expected. So parse mean try read all these variables and define them. Without this flag, all our previous instructions just like syntax. That's all. It will compile but doesn't work. Next step, if we look at the 12-factor manifest, we should use or adapt using global variables as like main source of our configuration. It's very straightforward. We also have some function for that, but in my opinion, yeah, it looks very, very like limited in functionality. Yeah, so we should define this variable. We read it. It supports only strings. And then we should play with it a lot. Yep. So the idea is here, maybe there are some existing solutions how to deal with that. So from one point of view, we want to be like compliant with 12 factors manifest. From other point, we want to use our flexible approaches and not play with these strings and different connotation. Okay. So when we go to fsum.go, we may find a couple of packages there. So most popular one, I think, is Viper. It provides very rich functionality, very wide functionality, have a lot of stars. Everyone may use it. It's very simple, but we will talk about it later. Another popular is was provided by Kelsey Hightower. Do you know this man? Yeah, it's quite famous one, I guess. So you can find him very interesting and hilarious. He made interesting speeches, not in technical perspective, in engaged perspective, I think. So he make his package for dealing with env configuration. There are some limitations, but in general, it's very straightforward, very similar to flag package. So we define in the structure by the structure text our keywords that will be mapped to the end variables. We may define default values, separator, symbols, couple of stuff that will provide our configuration. and also should call this parse method to processing all this stuff. Another package is pretty in another way dealing with the same thing. So it's oriented to .env files. It's the way how we can declare our environment variables. And I take a glance look at this package, and in my opinion, it just read these files and set these variables as environment, and then read it from environment variables, something like that, or could provide such functionality. And Carlos 0, and it's pretty similar to case of Hightower one, but for me it looks even more simpler. So it provides a very straightforward API, like a couple of methods in general, but use the same approach with structure, with structured text, and also provide some mappings to basic type. So they doesn't cover all types. Maybe there are some issue with duration, but in most cases it will help. Okay, this is an example of how it works. So as I described, this package may use like structured text or like direct naming, and by reflection it will be used by default as name of variables. Also, they use like this sub or prefix for the variables, and this example shows how these first two variables may be parsed to our configuration structure. Any questions? Straightforward, yeah? Okay, it's similar for me, also looks very straightforward. Env package, as we see, dealing in the almost same way. I missed here like example of environment variables, but we may guess and compare to that it work in pretty same way. Okay, I think that's all that I have to say in previous slide. We can combine these couple of approaches. For what is the reason for that? We may provide a different source of our configuration. One of them, it could be like environment variable. Another one, we can use like our files and parse these variables from files directly. That's very helpful when we want to deal with some default values. For example, we can put our default values to the file and then read it from the file. It's quite messy in the declaration of our structure, but it works. It supports like composition of this configuration, and it's nice to work with such structures for me. Any question? Okay, I will wait. Okay, let's come back to the Viper. So Viper cover slightly bigger and wide ranges of functionality. So it's cover default settings as many of the packages. It covers a lot of types of input files, where what it could parse, so we can avoid our previous example when we should combine a couple of approaches. Also, it provides like reading configuration, watching the file, reading the file from the directory and from remote source. It's really amazing stuff and very useful, and many of production hardware are oriented on these features. But what I dislike in the Viper is that we should configure it properly. So this is like initial step of configuration. We define the configuration name, define the configuration path, also add automation parsing from environment variables, and then read our configuration. For this point, this looks very similar, very pretty. But when we want to add something new, for example, we want to read some stuff from our environment variable without any files, we should bind to this variable directly. So we should declare it in our code base. And you understand, when we have a lot of configuration, it's quite messy, and it's not only add some new property to some structure of the configuration. We should also bind this fields to some environment variable. Then we should use proper get function and all this stuff. It leads to a lot of boilerplate code that can be avoided in somehow, and we play with that in different ways. So one of approaches is to use configuration as interface and cover each parameter as like interface contract, and then implement this deals with binding and getting this information. It leads to a lot of code and support a lot of code around the configuration, only around configuration. Another one is I skip a couple of slides, you see. So we want to use Viper from other one point, and from another we want to easily navigate around our configuration without additional code base. We want to simplify our reading, edit, and add new configuration to existing one. And we want to support all this feature of the Viper when we're able to parse our configuration from different sources. Maybe provide some help instruction how to use it. And for that, for example, for parsing environment variables, so I think the point, what is the problems here, I a little bit missing, I try to explain it. We are unable to just read from environment variable directly in Viper without declaration this binding. This binding could be done in a couple of ways. First of all, it's declares this by bind env to some k. And another way, we can read the file with configuration, and if this file matches with our keys in hierarchy, we are done. The limitation is here, Viper doesn't support hierarchical configuration. So if you have like in previous slides, configuration with some configuration of storage, some of them of DB, and they nested all this stuff, Viper doesn't map it this way properly. So it assumes all environment variable like first citizen in this structure. If they will be in some nested structure, like will be skipped. So the solution for that, one of solutions, possible solution for that, is to use such helper function that will read from structure keys, from structure case text this key of the environment variable and bind it directly when we deal with our configuration. This will help to simplify our code base and declare our configuration only once. Have you tried? Because we with Roman discussed this a lot, and he reviewed these approaches as well. So in our project, we implement these approaches, and another one we left with using interface right now. Yeah, so we're going to deal with that also. Any questions to this time? For this example, does it clear? No, it could be, but question of why. So purpose of that. Yeah. So if we just reflect like in this structure name function. Yeah. So it depends on how we implement there, and if it supports this nested function, nested structure, it could be. But we decided not to use this complex solution and stick to straightforward configuration in one level. This also helps when we're dealing with files. So in this time, we like limited by the Viper and maybe make some contribution to this library in the future. Any other questions? No? Okay. So as we can imagine, configuration may be very complex. For example, imagine that you're working on the some part of microservices architecture, and your service is one of 20 or 50 or 1,000 of them. And these components should be aware about communication with different components, different configuration that may be provided for each of them. And that's lead to very huge configuration in general, and store it like in one structure becomes very nasty and like God object, and every time you're looking something, some configuration in this bunch of them, it's very hard to find proper one. Yeah, that's why it's like idea to separate configuration by the packages, or like storing in one package but separated by the different structure. These both approaches may work, and as from my point of view, it depends on the agreement inside the team. Yeah, and with using the Viper, we can adopt this approach as well. So it doesn't prevent us in any cases, as I see. So I think that's all about configuration for today. I want to say thank you. If you have any questions, I'm glad to answer.
So thank you, Ivan.
Yep.
First of all, I forgot to mention that each question or each answer will be, you will have some sweets. So here we are.
At least.
At least. So if no one has the questions, I have a questions. So first of all, so sweet for me.
Candies. We like
first
candies.
of all, I heard about a lot of debates that default values in configuration is not really good practice. Like it brings a lot of confusion. Like if you didn't pass it, application still works, and we don't know how it works. So first question is, how you are working on documentation for configuration, and do you have some automation for this one? And third one, if you, in case if you're don't using default values, what you will do if some variable doesn't pass?
Yeah, I think this question can be separated. So how we deal with documentation, first of all, because it's really very important. And when we're dealing with some packages that's like Viper, we can, and I'm not sure that Viper generates some documentation, but it could be used. Yeah, we can write our own helpers. And for example, we can use Markdown for generate this documentation for configuration. At least we can list these keys and mark, is it default, what's the default value, is it required or not, so all this stuff. We use it in our practice, so we provide this list of all configuration. About should we use default or not, it depends on the value or importance of this like config option. In case like it's pretty crucial important, for example, connection to database, we are unable to start our servers without that. We may fail and stops running if this config doesn't provide, and using default value here is not very smart, is for me. Yeah, so it depends. We can use like common sense for defining what is important, what's no, and I think that's all.
Okay. I hope it works. Yeah. And next question is
next candy.
Next candy, right? Feature flags. So, have you ever implemented feature flags with a configuration?
Our configuration is feature flags. Like
okay, so great. So, how you are testing feature flags, or how you testing all the combination of feature flags?
Manually.
Manually. Okay. Any other questions, guys?
I'm not sure that we tested all combination, but
yeah, this is an interesting one. Any other questions? You can raise your hand.
Don't be shy.
You can talk in any language. Nice. Okay. Yay, we have one.
Thanks.
For the candy.
My next question, have you ever implemented dynamic configuration, like keeping them from the cloud or like console or etcd, and how it works for you?
I have not implemented it yet, but Viper supports this option. So we can provide like remote configuration for this stuff. Right now we're using like only defining environment variables during deployment.
What is a better approach between live watching file and the cloud configuration?
It depends on your case. For example, when you're working with Kubernetes, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's like very theoretical approach as for me. We can use a configuration map, and it will map like as a file inside the containers. And in this case, watching configuration will be useful. Yep. So it really depends. As for me, when we're working with remote configuration, it's easy to change, and it's like some architecture decision at some point, and it will bring some flexibility in your solution. Good. Thank you for the question.
All right. So no more questions. So again, thank you, Ivan.
Yep. And next speaker will be in 5 minutes.
Yeah. 5 minutes break. Great.
Take some fresh air. Thank you.
first.
Раз. А наступний спікер, як це, то буде в нас українською мовою доповідати, тому я собі можу вольність замутити українською мовою відповідати. І плюс, типу, в нас був фідбек також, спілкуватися не тільки англійською мовою. Тому вітаємо Андріану. Андріана нам буде розказувати про ерори і про мемчики.
Всім привіт! Надіюсь, мене нормально чути. Мене звати Андріана, я голландсько-веб інженер в соцсерві. Сьогодні будемо з вами говорити про ерори та про те, які взагалі нові ерори є в 1.12, які нові фічі приїхали. Такий маленький обзорчик. І також будемо говорити, як вони можуть використовуватися. Що тут робити?
Накривник, якщо можеш мікрофон взяти у руки.
Так, то, напевно, буде краще.
Цьому вона волосся.
Ага, все. Ну, це дівчата. Окей. Тож почнемо, напевно, з того, що взагалі таке є ерор, так? І чим вони такі взагалі особливі в Go. Ерор – це, в принципі, є значення. Це наш вбудований, це інтерфейсний тип, який в нас репрезентує, показує нам, що таке взагалі наша ерора, і в Go вона відображається як звичайне, по суті, значення. І працюємо ми з ними теж як зі звичайними значеннями, що є найбільш особливим в Go. Я візьму, так? Так, я думаю, так буде краще. Сорі за такі трабли, я просто насправді виступаю перший раз, тому що взагалі я тільки джуніор, і тому раді мене вітати. Так. Мікрофон не довіряє, але я нормально себе почуваю. Так. Тож продовжимо з ерорами. Взагалі ми вже визначили, що в принципі ми класно з ними працюємо, тому що це звичайні значення, ми їх обробляємо просто як ексепшени. Тобто це звичайна стрінга з ексепшеном того, що вона дає нам якийсь value. І можемо побачити те, що будь-що, що імплементує наш метод error, воно в принципі може бути використане як error. Йдемо далі. Як взагалі ми стикаємося з ерорами як девелопери? В справжньому житті нам доводиться працювати з помилками дуже часто. І якщо говорити про роботу з програмами, то варто відзначити те, що нам потрібно ерори наші логувати. Ми можемо їх використовувати при дебагу, коли шукаємо потенційні якісь баги. Нам дуже класно використовувати ерори. Взагалі, best practice – це хендлити ерори дуже класно. Це таке, що просто потрібно робити завжди і всюди. І найголовніше – не панікувати. Зараз ми поговоримо коротко про всі ці штуки, які тут є перечислені. Можливо, ви не знали, що саме щось з цього всього. Почнемо, напевно, з панік. Що означає не панікувати, якщо просто перекласти? Почнемо з того, що паніка – це вбудована функція в Go, яка просто виходить з програми. Тобто, незалежно від того, яка ерора нам прилетіла, незалежно від того, що сталося, найголовніше те, що вона завершує програму. Ніхто не каже про те, що паніками взагалі не можна користуватися, але давайте будемо користуватися ними тільки тоді, коли це потрібно. Тобто, коли продовження нашої роботи взагалі вже неможливе на такому, скажімо, найвищому рівні. Давайте розглянемо маленький приклад. Сподіваюся, що вам добре видно текст. Тут насправді багато тексту, але все не так складно. У нас є декілька функцій, які всередині мають якийсь принтлн якогось меседжу в дефері, і відповідно викликаються одна за одною. В останній нашій функції ми маємо break. Отут можемо побачити, в нас є break, і давайте розглянемо його. В ньому в нас є теж в дефері повідомлення, і викликається паніка, створюється ерорка, і каже про те, що global warming. Який в нас буде output? Десь приблизно такий. Через те, що в нас всі повідомлення були в дефері, вони поклалися в стек, і ми можемо бачити, що В принципі, в нас, якщо більше 30 градусів температура, ми включаємо кондиціонер, і нам далі стає жарко і жарко, тому не можемо зберегти планету. І, відповідно, в нас паніка, в нас global warming, глобальне потепління, ми нічого не можемо з цим зробити. Ну, окей, добре, давайте ми запанікуємо тоді нарешті і вийдемо з програми повністю. Друга річ, яка допомагає працювати нам з помилками, стикатися з ними, це логування. Логування – це, в принципі, відстежування моменту, коли щось пішло не так. Та? Для цього в нас є теж якісь вбудовані в пакети, такі як log і FMT, і є різні ще third-party packages, які ми можна використовувати. Тут я навела лише один приклад, хоча насправді я думаю, що кожен з нас знає, що в нас є безліч пакетів, які можна використовувати, всі вони в open-source доступі. Тут я привела приклад, на жаль, не встигла затерти. Давайте подивимося на найпростіший приклад. Найпростіший приклад з FMT та OS пакеджем, де в нас є з OS функція open, яка відкриває файл і повертає нам якусь ерору. Ми її присвоюємо в змінну f і, відповідно, присвоюємо ерору і отримуємо якусь ерору. Тобто ми її вже відлогували, ми знали, що з цим не так, і нам набагато легше орієнтуватися по програмі, коли ми знаємо, що не так і де. Давайте проговоримо про дебаг. Debugging by errors. Тобто, що це має собою на увазі? Коли ми говоримо про дебагінг, це якийсь пошук потенційних багів в нашому проєкті, в нашій програмі, в коді взагалі. І що взагалі нам дуже сильно допомагає в дебагу? Якраз таки хендлінг ерорів. Хендлінг, логування, дебагінг, вони всі за собою дуже перетинаються. І дуже класно, якщо дотримуватись тих 4 правил, які я тут виписала. Для мене вони просто як заповіді. Тому давайте розберемось трохи, давайте не будемо повертати просто ерори, тобто не будемо вводити message string сам error або ще щось, як я наведу потім в прикладах. Давайте будемо повертати кастомні ерори, будемо їх кастомізувати і описувати, що саме в нас не так. Ми будемо врапити наші ерори, поки в нас є така можливість. І найважливіше, ми можемо екстрактнути наш контекст з ерори, тобто меседж, який ми отримуємо, можна використати для того, щоб просто віддебажити, що ж і де пішло не так, і де ця потенційна ерора наша знаходиться. Тепер хотілося б розглянути те, взагалі, як можна зробити ерору. Тобто я вже говорила про те, що будь-який метод, який імплементує ерор, він може бути ерором. Тож, бачимо, тут є звичайна структура, посилання на неї, і вона імплементує метод error, повертає нам стрінг і каже, що seems like too many moves, тому що нам потрібно в мейні ще викликати нашу цю структурку, присвоїти її в main і тоді запринтеленити, що в нас от такий от прийшов меседж. Насправді це можна робити набагато простіше, якщо юзати package errors. І всього-навсього все, що нам треба буде зробити, це використати метод new, в який ми просто передамо стрінгу, а все решта, що ми зробили, зробиться за нас. То, думаю, можемо перейти якраз десь отут до пекеджу, до обзорчику Go 1.13 і того, що класного вийшло для ерорів, для його хендлінга. Давайте всі згадаємо цей холивар про try. Про те, як важливо було нам замінити 3 строчки коду, якщо error не дорівнює nil, то return nil error. Ну, насправді, це дуже цікава і важлива тема, яку можна, в принципі, відслідковувати, напевно, вічно, бо холивар продовжується досі. Можна було, звичайно, використати try, але в той самий момент, коли це вже було в пропозалі і обговорено, в той самий момент з'явились люди, які сказали, ну, але нащо він нам? І такі, ну, не потрібно. І тому активізувалася та частина ком'юніті, якому зовсім try не потрібен був, якому було окей писати 3 строчки коду. І в цілому я тут залишила для вас дуже класні посилання. Це є proposal для тих, хто взагалі, можливо, не читав. І є Open Letter to the Go Team About Try від Вільяма Кеннеді, де він дуже класно дивиться на цей proposal зовсім з іншого боку, ніж пояснила його я, для прикладу. Давайте подивимось те, як 1.13 спростив error handling. Розглянемо приклад, на якому бачимо якусь нову ерорку, яка каже, що це дійсно справді така собі ерорка. І ми маємо функцію, в якій ми повертаємо FMT error-F. І я б хотіла звернути вашу увагу на те, що ми повертаємо повідомлення і використовуємо новий верб в FMT, ми використовуємо W, яке, в принципі, означає wrapping. Ми беремо нашу ерору і просто за допомогою пекеджу FMT врапимо її через новий верб. Тобто, мені здається, що це достатньо спростило нашу розробку, якщо врахувати те, що дуже багато ерорів просто використовують error-F і передають туди як верб. Ну, в чому взагалі врапінг, напевно, кращий? Це в тому, що коли ми передаємо як верб, ми передаємо це як просто значення, і більше працювати ми з цим, ну, абсолютно, в принципі, не можемо. Коли ми передаємо сюди W, ми передаємо вже ерору нашу завраплену і можемо її анврапнути на в тому місці, де нам треба буде це, і дістатись, в принципі, якоїсь попередньої ерори. Це, в принципі, теж ще одна нова фіча Go, яка додався просто метод unwrap, в якому, ну, складно так помилитися, в принципі, просто unwrapаємо ерори, тепер без кастомних якихось своїх функцій. І finally, отакі поінти дуже класні, які в нас є, це те, що раніше ми використовували просто порівняння якісь ерори з якоюсь існуючою еророю. Так, якщо взяти, наприклад, пекедж той самий OS, і там у нас є чейн якихось ерорів, я взяла ерор exist, і ми маємо те, що ми замінили наш assertion, ці два дорівнює, ми замінили на те, що в нас є метод is в пакеті ерорів, який першим аргументом приймає ерору, яку ми отримали, і другою її з чимось порівнює. Також дуже схожим до цього є метод S, але абсолютно протилежний. Ми вже бачимо тут трошки більше коду. Бачимо те, що він, в принципі, приймає інтерфейс, який імплементить ерор, і можна порівнювати якийсь тип ерори за допомогою errors-S. Це, напевно, така найбільша їхня, в принципі, різниця. Що в них ще є класного? Сорі, спойлер маленький. Що в них є класного? Це те, що is і s всередині в себе вже мають вбудований unwrap. І коли ми подивимось трошки назад, проглянемо всі ці нові класні фічі від Go, можемо зробити собі такий короткий оверв'ю, що якщо ми використаємо абсолютно всі, ми заврапимо помилку, ми можемо її анврапнути от якраз новими фічами. Тобто це якийсь такий свій вже новий підхід. Давайте перейдемо трохи до use cases, які взагалі можуть виникнути, як це можна взагалі все застосувати. Маємо приклад. Я хотіла звернути вашу увагу, що на рахунок того, чи буду до вам, скажімо так, на уважність презентації, я потім в кінці задам одне дуже важливе питання, мені буде цікаво, чи хтось звернув увагу чи ні. А зараз я би хотіла вашу увагу привернути просто до коду. Ну, не так цікаво, як до того, що я спитаю потім, але ж давайте подивимось на тим, що в нас тут є. В нас є ерора по тайм-ауту, ми принтеленимо її, булівське значення, ми його змінюємо на звичайний наш true або false, і використовуємо тут якраз таке однакове значення, те, що замінилося. У нас був assertion, і використовуємо error is, тобто що в нас було, що в нас стало. Давайте подивимося, який в нас буде output. Так, клас. Ми бачимо, що це, в принципі, наша ерора тайм-ауту і тут, і там. Тепер я б хотіла задати, напевно, вам запитання. Тут от можете побачити, лінк є на завдання, але я би, звісно, попросила зараз не переходити. Давайте подивимось на те, що в нас є завраплена ерора. Ми її заврапили за допомогою функції getWrappedError. І далі ми робимо з нею ті ж самі всі функції, які робили, крім того, що вона в нас є завраплена. У мене питання до вас. Що буде на аутпуті? В нас є два принтлени. Чи це timeout error буде using this assertion, і чи це буде timeout error, використовуючи error is. От, ну, буде якийсь булівський тип, це зрозуміло, але який саме? Окей, це false true. А тепер чому? Окей, так, але давайте будемо називати це своїми іменами. Ми порівнювали значення, тому що помилки наші – це значення. і в принципі, тому що error is в нас імплементує unwrap. Так. Саме так. Є, може, якісь питання по тому всьому короткому? Так, ми можемо порівнювати наші попередні помилки, які в нас були десь завраплені. Так. Є ще, може, якісь питаннячка по 1.13? Бо ми зараз будемо проходити по use кейсах. Може, у вас є якісь такі загальні питання? Окей. Давайте подивимось до того, як ми можемо використовувати наш error handling, коли ми будемо парсити JSON. Теж внизу навела вам посилання. Якщо раптом комусь буде погано видно, то можете скористатись. Ми, в принципі, уявимо собі, що ми робимо якусь helper-функцію для того, щоб декодити JSON-body, яка в нас буде повертати error. Зараз тут у нас, в принципі, немає ніяких error-хендлінгів, ніякого коду, тому давайте зробимо це разом. Уявимо собі, що ми зловили якусь ерору, як ми будемо її відловлювати через switch. В свічі ми додали кейси, які в нас взагалі можуть бути, такі як errors-s, де ми можемо порівняти тип ерори, про який я вже казала, і він буде нам повертати структурку, яка буде мати в собі статус, який в нас буде, в принципі, bad request, і меседж якийсь, який ми передали через ерору. Можемо скористатися методом is і передати в кейс метод is, порівняти це вже з якоюсь існуючою еророю, з її значенням, і повернемо знову ж таки цю структуру, яку би нам треба було повернути. От уявимо, що ми вже створили наш helper, можемо передати просто метод error, який от буде дорівнювати такому стрінгу, такій стрінзі, і отримуємо меседж про те, що request body must not be larger than 1 MB, він не може бути більшим. Ми повертаємо ту ж саму структурку, в якій у нас є статус, і є меседж. По дефолту ми просто повертаємо error, як завжди всі роблять. А як воно працює? От десь приблизно так воно буде виглядати, коли ми будемо юзати це вже, по суті, юзати те, що ми захендлили ерори. Ми використаємо нашу цю саму структурку, в якій є наш статус і є меседж, і будемо обробляти її, як отут я, наприклад, навела тільки для errors-s, де ми порівнюємо з цією структуркою нашу ерору, яка прийшла, і виводимо відповідно меседж і виводимо статус, якщо вона знайшлась. Якщо ж її все ж таки не було, там це була не та ерора або щось пішло не так, то ми залогували це за допомогою пекеджу log, який теж є вбудований, і вивели, в принципі, ерор, вивели статус і ретурнимось. От. На цьому в мене все, в принципі. Я б хотіла вам порадити не перевіряти ерори, а класно їх обробляти, додавати більше контексту, бо це дуже-дуже helpful. В мене був власний досвід, коли я стикалася з паніками, але я зі всіма ними стикнулася один раз, забула про них назавжди. Використовуйте нові фічі errors і don't panic. Так. І питання, в принципі, яке я хотіла задати до вас. Може, хтось був дуже уважний і порахував, скільки всього було гоферів в мене в презентації? Давайте, хто буде найближчим, напевно. Не знаю, як буде правильно, Богдан, може порадиш. Так хотів, не складно. Логічно, але я до такого ще не додумалася.
Це було би круто, але, на жаль.
Окей. Ще якісь версії? Я підкажу, їх було менше 20.
Чекай.
Такий маленький інтерактив, в принципі, найближчими були варіанти 16, бо взагалі їх було 17.
За 13 просто.
Так.
А
За
хто
13
говорив
вже
16?
класна була ідея, так.
Чувак, зловиш? Сорі.
Almost.
Окей, добре, давайте тоді йдемо далі. Маєте
хіба,
ще
може,
питання
є якісь
якісь?
питання у вас?
О, чудово.
Так. Це, в принципі, трохи скорочений код, бо він не вміщався на слайді.
Там не буде паніка в HTTP error, коли ми MR щось там робимо, ні?
Взагалі не буде.
Ні, не буде, добре.
Якщо цікаво, то потім можу зашарити просто презентажку зі всіма лінками, да.
Чи можна якось кетчнути паніку? Або ми вичитуємо ерор, якось хендлимо, а якщо ми то забули, у нас рейзиться паніка. Якось можна з панікою працювати, або не використовувати ерори. Чому не можна виходити з функції через весь стек десь нагору панікою? Чому це погано?
Так, я можу поділитися своїм баченням. Найголовніше, в принципі, особливість паніки – це те, що ти виходиш з роботи, будь-де вона буде, і тебе вже не хвилює, чи вона буде десь зверху, чи вона буде десь внизу. Плюс до того, зловити її, попробуй, дуже легко. Але зловиш її, як покемона, і зловиш її вже, десь там біля стек-трейсу внизу в ерорі, типу.
Добре, мені треба там, наприклад, ерор.
Все, клас, ти собі виводиш просто меседж, ловиш паніку і такий, от тут є мій меседж, тут моя паніка, але ти з нею, не справишся, як так.
Це питання було про швидкість роботи, бо рекавері дуже повільний, особливо в 1.13.
Хіба рекавері, який, не повільний, його краще взагалі не бачити.
Ми ж навчаємо, як треба писати правильно, так? Тому не юзайте.
Насправді є ще один use case з рекаверами. Це, наприклад, коли ти пишеш свої мідлварки і ти хочеш обезпечитися від кривизни рук інших девелоперів.
У мене, власне, було зауваження по рекаверу, не завжди, навіть якщо хочеш рекавером огорнути, потрібно безпосередньо в тій функції, яка може запанікувати, рекаверитись. Бо якщо далі проскочить по стеку, рекавер не зловить ту паніку. Мої 5 копійок по рекаверу. Так.
Я тобі тут поставлю просто так. В кого ще якісь питання? Я ще з собою взяв. Чувак, ти дивися, головне, щоб діабет ще не отримав.
Насправді не питання, а більше ремарка. Є така штука, як такий паттерн, як panic-driven development, і можете спробувати. Це ніби як вид, як збочення більше, але суть в тому, що ти можеш використовувати такий підхід більше як в command-line application, і він здорово працює, якщо хочете погуглити і почитати.
У мене був use case, коли менеджер мене дивився на багу одну, а баген тайтл був «Ваша аплікуха панікує». І тому менеджер завжди питався, що це з панікою, що з нею робить. Окей, ще питання?
Unwrap is S і WV, як wrapping в FMT. Те, що стосується ерорів, так. Насправді пакет DevChain зараз і став, в принципі, вбудований, просто розширився цим функціоналом. Якщо навіть, якщо просто зайти навіть через GoDoc package errors, то ми просто редиректимося зразу на наш errors пакет. Окей. Окей, може я не так зрозуміла.
Yes. Ще питання? Давайте, не панікуйте. Ні, окей. Є? Ні, ладно. Окей, подякуємо ще раз. Що, 10 хвилин перерви і б'є далі? 10. А я скільки сказав? 10. 10 хвилин перерви і йдемо далі. So, continuing. First of all, small announcement. So, don't go away, please. After, at the end, after this last topic, we will have a big selfie. And if you wanted to be a part of this community and your face will be somewhere on a photo, on a Slack, on Facebook, or wherever, any social medias which will track you. So, yeah, it would be nice. Yes, our next speaker is Rodion, not GeForce, but Rodion. So please welcome. $10.
$10. Okay. Okay, so guys, as Bogdan introduced me, I'm Rodion, not GeForce. I'm a developer from software, and today we're going to talk about WebAssembly and what is this and how does it work with Go and a lot of other stuff. I guess we have enough time. And I guess this stuff works. Oh,
Turn it on.
how should it work? Cool.
Nope.
I have to try this. Yeah. So just run application. Here is our little agenda. Today we are going to talk about the intro. I will describe high-level design, WebAssembly, and Go. We will see a couple of examples and also can speak about use cases and future of WebAssembly. Let's start from brief introduction. So what is WebAssembly? WebAssembly is just one more byte code that can be run on a virtual machine. This virtual machine can be embedded in a lot of software, so we can embed it into operating system, into browsers, into server software, and something else. Also, it is intended to be compiled from different languages. So now you can see a C++ code that it's equivalent written in WebAssembly text format that is also called WAT. As I mentioned about WebAssembly can be binded to a lot of different technologies that are existing now. So we can compile WebAssembly. We can compile our code from these languages to a WebAssembly and run this WebAssembly code on most of famous browsers and also Node.js and some other platforms. That is not full list of platforms of technologies that are working with WebAssembly now, but these are pretty much top of the most famous platforms. Okay, let's go through WebAssembly design in Go. Here you can see a scheme with compilation flow. Compilation flow goes as for any other platform or operation system or architecture. We're just running Go build command that takes our Go code, compiles it to Go assembly, to Go object code, and translate this Go assembly to WebAssembly code. So at the output, we are just getting a WASM executable. Next diagram is about execution. How are we starting to execute our WASM binary? So first of all, we have to have a HTML page that will fetch a runtime helper and fetch our WebAssembly binary. This runtime helper is just backend for our JavaScript binder calls. So if we want to call some JavaScript code, we will call for this runtime helper. Also, it runs our WASM binary. And here is how WASM is executed in browser. So first of all, we have just a web page context, WebAssembly VM that is just executing our WASM executable. WASM executable contains our code and some other stuff that is related to Go, to its runtime. It also should contain syscall.js library to make calls to JavaScript. And we will interact with JavaScript only through this library, and this library will call JavaScript through runtime helper. Also, our code compiled in WASM can be executed by JavaScript. As we have access to JS calls, so we have access to any stuff that JS has access to. So we can manipulate with DOM, we can manipulate with network, storage, caches, cookies, other third-party stuff. So this is time of examples, and now we will go through just hello world. Here you can see a just simple hello world application that we see all the time that we go to, for example, Go Playground. Only thing that we have to do is just compile it with Goose.js and Gorge WASM flags, and we will get our, sorry guys, we will get our WASM executable. Also, WASM WebAssembly is supported only from version Go 1.11, so we will not be able to get WASM binary on earlier versions of Go. Another thing that I mentioned is our HTML file that will load our runtime helper, and that will load our WASM file. So here you can see a script that we are importing. This is a runtime helper that will provide JavaScript interface to our Go code, and will also load our WASM executable. This part of JavaScript just fetches our main WASM file. So main WASM is just some WASM binary that we compiled previously, and here we are running. We're instantiating a Go runtime helper from this script, fetching main WASM binary. So this is just magic instruction that we don't need to think about what does it do, and then we're running our WASM binary. How to get this WASM exec.js? So here we have a WASM exec.js file as a part of distribution of any Go version. So we just have to go to Go root, misc WASM, and get this file. And now I'm going to sit down to laptop and give some showcase. Give me a minute. So I guess it's visible. Cool. So here we have a main Go file. Sorry, that is not that example. Hello, main Go. Yeah, here we have our main Go file. Also, we have an HTML page. I posted our JavaScript into a dedicated function to make it runnable from a button. And WASM exec.js helper. It's pretty big and scary, so we don't go through this. Okay, and now I just want to run this. I'm not sure if I can access this window here. Yeah, I need some help. I need microphone without my hands. Just a second. I'm just going to sit down here and be. Oh, I can because we have this.
You can sit right here.
Oh, you should. Okay, but I have to see this because my laptop will not show.
You're a lucky man.
Yeah, I'm really lucky. Okay, I will try to see what I'm doing. I'm not really prepared to this kind of stuff. Oh, okay. So my personal microphone keeper. That's crazy. Okay. Here is my terminal. I just want to. Oh, cool. I'm interrupted. Cool. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to run goose equal js gorge equals wasm. Cool. Go build. And I'm not in the right folder. Sorry, guys. Experiments. Hello. I'm going to run this command here. Okay. Here we have hello file. This is our wasm executable. I'm going to rename this to hello. Well, that wasm. Come on. Yeah. Just what I'm doing. Cool. So we have hello that wasm here, and I'm going to modify our wasm exec file to use this one. I'm saving it. Okay, that's pretty much that we need. And now I'm going to execute go exec with a Golang web server. So we will have web server in this folder. And let's go to Chrome. I'm going to go out from this. Okay. Localhost. And I want to disable cache. We'll load this. No. So that was some kind of spoiler. So here we can see our run button, and now we will run our wasm executable. And here we have print line, work it for our button press, and it printed hello WebAssembly. And we can run this wasm executable a lot of times. Okay, I spent a lot of time on such simple examples, so let's go to more complex and spend more time. Okay, So first of all, I want you to see this web page. I'm going to go to another folder that I was previously. And I'm going to execute our web server locally one more time. Cool. Are you tired? Okay, cool. So you'll be tired more. Where's my person? Here is it. So here we have a button to init application. Here we have a button to choose. Oh, I hadn't told that. What is this? Apparently. Yeah, this is an image resizer. Yeah, it's pretty simple, but I guess it will be enough for a showcase. Here we can choose a file for resizing. Here we have width and height parameters inputs, and we can just run our resizing script or what was executable if you wish. Now I can show how does it work. I just initialized a script. Here I have an image of my hand. And now we can resize this to something, to some random numbers of width and height. Come on, I just, okay, I hadn't no initial size. Okay, let it be this and this. My hand is going to be better. Okay. Yeah, shit happens, really. So here is just a resize application. And now I will show how does it actually work. How can we do this stuff from Go? So let me go to Visual Studio back. And are you really that tired? Okay. Let's start from a main Go file. Our execution of WASM begins from main function. So this is a life cycle of our WASM application. Since main function is live, we can call any WASM compiled Go stuff. Next, okay. Next thing I have to introduce to you is JS. This is called JS library. So this library, as I said previously, allows us to go to JS and say, hey, execute something for me, or hey, create some value for me. We have a couple of basic primitives that we will always interact with using this library is value, and second one is func. So value represents any arbitrary JavaScript value like reflect value, and func represents func. So obviously, this table, this mapping shows relations between Go values and JavaScript values. If we violate this mapping, so any syscall.js function will fail. It will panic, so don't panic. Okay, let's start from main function. So JS global is an object that returns us some global value as document or window or maybe something else, depending on the platform, on JavaScript or WebAssembly execution environment. Here we also have a set method, and now I'm just so if we want to create some global variable or a function, we have to set it to a global environment. So here I'm setting an init app function for a global environment, and this function will be called from our initialization button. And obviously this function will be called. JS funcov creates a function that can be invoked from JS. The parameter should satisfy this signature. The signature is just value and is value of object that we're going to place this function into, and args are just arguments of that function. Also, this function should return any JS value compatible Go value. Another function that I'm introducing here is just a shutdown application function. Let's go to init application function. Here we have a couple more interesting things. So process button. This is just a wrapper. I can show some wrappers here. I just didn't want to repeat this code each time I want to have a document. So we have a wrapper for document object. I guess some libraries will also provide much more comprehensive API to a syscall.js library, but this one is just implemented on ad hoc on my demand by me. So let's go back. This function will return us a JS value that is related to process button. So the button that we are using, to invoke resize of image. We're adding JavaScript event listener. So we're just, oh, sorry, I forgot for this method. So method calls a function from JavaScript, and now we're calling add event listener with the parameters click and a function of callback. So if we need to invoke some JavaScript function, we just specify its name as a first parameter and the list of arguments as the rest of parameters. Here is also one more call. We're adding event listener to our file uploader just to let it to notify that we have a new image in our application. Also, here we have just resize callback. That's quite scary function. Please don't beat me after my speech for this code, because this code was written when I was drunk. So what does this function do? So you can see the first anti-pattern. I don't know what. Okay, we are creating a buffer for our image. For our image data. So this buffer is just a static. We can consider that we will have up to 400 megabytes size image, but believe me, this will not work. And here is one more 10 minutes. 10 minutes left, or? Oh, that's cool. Seems like eternity. Give it to me. Yeah. So what's next? Here's one more important JS function that allows us to bring raw data from JavaScript to Go, and we are always using uint8 array from JavaScript to copy bytes to Go slice of bytes. So what I'm doing here, I'm just decoding an image, calling resize function here. Here I also access it to with and high values from our inputs. And here we invoke resize. Then we're doing just reverted scene where writing image bytes to JavaScript, and that's all. We are just setting the result image, but this function is some kind of magic that we will not have to pay attention to. Also, so this is a showcase how can we create a function that will be executed by JavaScript. So we also have one more showcase is load callback. Here I just want to show how can we handle parameters and this object. So this object is just a JS value that we can access to. We can access to it fields, to it functions, and anything else. So that's just a showcase for this. And here is our args. They are similar to args for just console applications, so we can get them and reuse as the same JavaScript values. I guess that was really boring, guys. So it was fun because of Bogdan hold it microphone for me. Okay. I want to get back to browser. Okay. So let's get back also to presentation. Yeah. Now I will ask you a question. Do you have any questions to that code? Yep.
Hi, I have a question. I saw in that is just one big S expression. Does it mean that there is a Lisp somewhere?
That is not Lisp, but it's similar to.
Okay, but where is it?
That is custom language made just for text. Let me see. It is just made to be used as a general language that you can write code not on a WebAssembly, but not using, its byte notation, because byte notation looks like the general compiled, like a common compiled file.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. That was nice. So I just would like to ask whether it's possible to use WASM but avoid JavaScript, to use browser feature natively. I mean, avoiding JavaScript. Is it possible?
Well, a lot of answers on a lot of questions regarding WebAssembly sounds like it depends on embedders. If we're talking about browsers, yes, we can use some WebAssembly features, but I guess we cannot use browser features without any JavaScript calls. But guys that are developing WebAssembly, they're trying now to build WebAssembly on LLVM. Also, WebAssembly can be executed on Node.js, so it always depends on interface. And I guess if you're using LLVM, you will not be able to use a JavaScript, so you will have a control on LLVM using just WebAssembly. But in browser, I can't remember any use case when I can do something with browser and avoid JavaScript.
Okay, and sorry, one more question. So if we can't avoid the JavaScript, what is the benefits to use like Go and compile it to WASM and execute it through the JavaScript than just use JavaScript? We still can use those functions like eval and so on. So what are the benefits?
Okay, I can run C, C++, C# code in the browser. If I have a lot of libraries written in that languages, I can compile them and avoid any JavaScript abstraction. I can go with that functionality.
Could you please?
Yes, please. Yeah, first of all. First of all, the question is, why do we need to replace JavaScript with a WebAssembly? So obviously you don't want it to write a lot of strings as you see in code. Basically, this is all string-based development. Second thing is why I believe, imagine the world where you can share your code, neither this is an iOS app or web app. For example, you wanted to share some algorithm or something like this, like hashing algorithm, and you don't want to rewrite it in JavaScript because obviously you don't want to mess up with it. So yeah, this is a thing. Like when you can share specific pieces of your code written in WebAssembly. You probably will not write entire applications in WebAssembly, but you can share some pieces of your code through WebAssembly. How you can run it in browser? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. So next question, please. Yeah. This is not the end.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's
really
maybe move to the next one.
Okay. So. Oh yeah, more complex example. Even more than previous, but no, that was the most complex. Let me resume. Okay, so now I just want to show you some use cases. Here is, for example, video editor, just effects editor that its effects are written in C++ library. So most of code that works in this video editor is C++ code compiled in WASM. One more use case is precise client-side computing. Here we can see an image editor, but the main feature, in my opinion, it can change formats of your image, so you can load a PNG image and transform it to JPEG, transform it to anything else without loading any servers. So you will just save a lot of money, don't serving a lot of clients making requests to resize or to do anything with their images. Okay, also I have a question to an auditory. What happens when we can do some precise computing on client side with a lot of machines? So just imagine that you have client application and a lot of users. What can you do with that clients? Oh, who said? Yeah, that's right. So WebAssembly can be used for cryptocurrency mining, and that is really interesting use case because WebAssembly is better for this because it has natively integer and float values as a default, integer and float variables and values as a default data types. So it works better with some fixed numbers and cryptocurrency, and any precise computing can be
can be easily ported to WebAssembly. Also, we can think about next thing. WebAssembly can become a thread for cryptography, since we have a lot of clients that can solve some task. We can make them to build some rainbow tables for us, to search hash collisions for us, or maybe even brute force cryptography keys. So as faster WebAssembly can become, as vulnerable our encryption algorithms can also become. It depends only on time and on performance of WebAssembly. Of course, games. So games are one of the first thing that can go in mind when we are talking about some C or C++ code in browser. So first one is just Space Invaders, like Zombie Apocalypse game. This is Tanks game 3D. This is a part of first Diablo. It works and it's really cool, in my opinion. And this is a platformer like Gravity Defeat. What else? Yes, I've tried the Diablo. Moreover, there is Doomsword port in browser that uses WebAssembly, and it's quite performable, so it's really fast. You have 3D, full-featured 3D graphics, old but full-featured in a browser. Also, there are some development tools that are already ported to or ported or created to browser using WebAssembly. Is WebAssembly SH, that is some kind of bash for client side, Python interpreter in WebAssembly, game development engine, Lua interpreter. So we can also use WebAssembly for our development stuff. And many more things, So what is the state of WebAssembly in Go? So syscall.js library is experimented. So it is not committed to Golang backward compatibility promise. So if we are developing something today, we cannot be sure that it will work tomorrow. Also, we have a quite large binary size. It can be reduced by using TinyGo or using some compression algorithm, but it doesn't solve the problem at all. And we have also some basic libraries and basic frameworks that are implemented for Go interaction with WebAssembly, but for now there is a big field of job that we can get there, and a lot of things that are not implemented yet for Go and WebAssembly. So feel free to contribute to that. I guess community is really open to any contributions. Also, industry goes with WebAssembly. So as I said, WebAssembly is tried to be ported for LLVM. Qt also supports somehow WebAssembly. Also, we have this logo is logo of Uno platform. These guys compile C# code for different platforms, Windows, I guess, iOS, Android, and maybe something in web. They can compile the same application from the same code into WebAssembly and run on different platforms. So they are really cool. And there are a lot of different companies and communities that are working with WebAssembly now. So WebAssembly is great tool with big potential, but for now it needs us. It needs our minds. It needs our attention. It needs our ideas. Here are references for guys. Yeah. I know one. You're really happy because I finished it. Thank you, guys. Questions? I guess there should be a lot of. Yep.
What is the size of the Hello World binary WASM?
Hello world. I can show or I can say.
You can say.
Okay, so about 2 and 6 megabytes.
So it still contain runtime.
Yeah, definitely. So it uses the same compiler toolchain.
And one more question.
Sorry. One more question. Yes.
Yeah. So just. Okay. I will.
I have a question actually.
Yep.
How well, despite all these examples that you provided, so this basic the BOSS platform give us an opportunity to write some critical logic or complex logic in the language we like, and then use it cross-platformly on different devices. And for example, if the project has different aspects like web application, then iOS, then Android, and all that stuff, basically what we can do is grab some code that we want to run by clients, put it into binary, and then let the basically mobile phones and laptops run it instead of running it on the laptops or in the servers.
Okay, so if we're talking about servers, servers also can reuse that code. Node.js can execute, and any embedder can execute that WASM. I'm not saying that all WASM that you are compiling will be portable like a Go code. It always need interfaces support. So if you're running on a web application, so you have to support some web application interfaces like JavaScript, like WebSockets or something else. If you're writing server applications, so you will need another interfaces. Any like maybe server handlers or something else. So, you always have to pay attention to interfaces. That's all.
One more question.
Yep.
Is there a way to hide our code from some zifs? For example, I wrote some library and someone just can copy paste my WASM code and execute my functions.
So that is just like how it should work.
I mean, is there a way to prevent it?
Just repeat. I didn't get the question.
Yeah, but then I open file WASM and you can just replace this host. No, it's not binary. So it's binary, but you can find your host there. I have already example.
You can actually download WASM. The question is, okay, you downloaded some part of it. What's the difference?
You can see which functions you execute in your JavaScript.
Okay, you do it now. Also with the current state of JavaScript.
Okay, for example, I wrote a library, right, with math stuff. For example, I do some, and I just exposes this file to the browser, right? And there is like a few functions, and some zifs can see these functions and just pass it.
So in this case, if you have some kind of license,
Okay.
I'm not sure about it, but I know for sure that the problem is solved.
Yeah, but I guess Ziv still can reuse your code, but not to. They should. On how you obfuscate it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, one more question. Do you have a benchmark which are comparing which are comparing Chrome V8 with WASM for some image resize or MD5 or any other crypto?
Well, for yes, we have some benchmarks, especially for Chrome versus JavaScript. But if we're talking about general benchmarks, so first of all, I would say that WebAssembly is slightly slower than JavaScript in some tasks, but much more faster. Oh, cats. Cool. But much more faster in another task. So that depends on the task. If we are talking about some general case, so it can be it can depend on embedder. The same answer than on most of questions about WebAssembly. So when we have a good embedder that embedded WebAssembly on high performance stack, so that is okay. It will be much more faster than V8, but also it can be slower because your virtual machine is just a bullshit.
Thank you.
I'm curious why I did it.
I can show you. Yep. I can show you after any other presentation, so I have some examples. Thank you, guys.
It worked. Yep. Okay. So last topic for today, I will try to run very fast. I provide some some additional time to Rodion, but I not expect that it's so much time. Okay. I hope you enjoy this topic. It's not how this works. Give me a couple of seconds. Couple of things in one time. Okay, so let's summarize some recent updates that we have. As I mentioned earlier, we have like 10 years of Go community in this month celebrate. And for this event, I don't know, for this time, they provide a bunch of updates. First of all, they open this new portal like GoDev and gather there a lot of useful information. It's like screenshot of this site. It's not like the total link. What is useful here is like new documentation looks. I guess they port it as well to golang.org. let me check. But here we have like information more wide about licensing, about versioning, about imports. I think imports we already have, and all this stuff. Also, they are, as I know, they're working about protocol for some packaging manager that will make some security research and provide information. Does it package secure enough or not? Maybe something like that. So it will be pretty nice. What else we have? Also, they gathered this information about solution, about case study, about companies that using Go and why they are using. So it's maybe reasonable in your company, in your team, when you're talking with other engineers who are using Go to explain them. Also, here we have like bunch of useful information for the beginners. We shouldn't browsing of the internet and find something useful for us. We just can review or send this link for those who are interested in Go and want to study it in some way. What else? Have you filled this survey already? Someone? Okay, so a lot of us missed this opportunity. Please spend a couple of minutes, like 10-15 minutes, to answer the questions. This information is really very useful. They make prioritization of next steps of development Go in general. So any ideas, you can share it and contribute in this way as well. A couple of interesting articles, unfortunately, also for beginners. I surf on internet for something more complex things, but it's really rare right now. Maybe we should write something by ourselves. We have a series of articles from DigitalOcean and Gopher Guides that study Go in different ways, and it's nice reading, very easy and funny, I guess. Also, I have found this blog post from Vincent Blanch. I'm not sure I'm spelled properly. Sorry for that. So this guy is deep dive more under the hood how works compiler, how Go manage the memory, how garbage collectors work. So a lot of tricky questions, and they're influenced with some examples. And I don't know. As for me, it's very easy to read and understand more deeply how Go works. This one interesting features articles that's combined with our today's topics about feature that exists in Go, but it's like called the last resort. So they exist for rare cases and maybe use it with wise when you knew why you're using them. For example, like structured text, a lot of things depends in our code base on them. And when we try to play with them a lot, it's become a mess because compiler doesn't check them properly. And if we use structured text as metaprogramming, and it becomes very messy and hard to deal with that. Also, empty interface tells nothing, and we may use empty interface in rare case when we want to use some dynamic typing in some cases, but also try to avoid it. It's like it is obvious for me, but maybe not for all of us. Use import alias and dot imports also possible in Go. It's maybe use it when we have some collision in naming in our packages, but it's also one like reason to think twice about naming, and maybe do not name the packages in the same names as the standard package names. Also using dot imports, do you know what it means? When we mark it our imports as dot, all exported function and variables will be accessible in our packages, like if we write it directly in our package. It's becoming messy and you doesn't get properly, should you or could you change this function or not, because you're unable to change function from another package. Do not use panic or try to avoid it. Yeah, try to avoid init function as well. I have found an interesting case how we can make pre-initialization of some state that we're using, like internal state of package. to use functions for that will be called on the start of our application, like init function, but with another logic, like initialization of global variables. And be careful with Sigo. Sigo also means we stick with some platform with some logic inside. We should deal very properly and carefully with memory management, because Go doesn't cover that. Sorry, and we also have a bunch of restriction between communication Go and C. It was interesting to find out there are a couple of style guides was published, I think this month. It's like from Uber and SourceGraph. SourceGraph is very small. It's reading very fast. It's like a couple of pages. Uber has wide, like not book, but good article and comparison between good and bad practice. What else? Conferences. Next year is coming, and we will have like .go conference very soon, I guess. You see these two guys on it on the main page. So what I can say about .go conference? For me, it was first abroad conference that I have visited in 2015, I guess, or 16. Yeah, they started in 15. It's like common place for networking and communication. It's oriented to people who gather to share their experience rather than just attending the conference and hear the speakers. Yeah, so there are a lot of communication and internal stuff going on. At the picture, we see this mass of people on the center. They just chat with each other. Next one, GopherCon, like in US, this time will be in Orlando. Yeah, it's like Disney World. They have like scholarship programs that could be sponsored your visit if you explain it enough properly. Yeah, there are another spirit definitely, and I highly recommend that you visit it to feel this Go community emotion in this event. It's also very fun. It's a couple of days. There are a lot of workshops, a lot of interesting people there. We can speak and discuss your question, your proposition. You can ask in question why you reject my merge request or my contribution, or all this stuff. GopherCon Europe this time will be in Berlin. This like Natalie tried to make this event very similar to GopherCon in US. So the format will be the same. The speakers maybe almost overlap. So it's a nice opportunity. Do not fly to US and fly to Berlin instead. Even we have like direct flight with this city. So I think that's all. Yeah, I encourage you to visit this page and monitor it. There are a couple of call of papers is still open. Also, this is a good point how to bring yourself to the conference. Just make a talk on this conference. Yeah. Okay, and I forget something. Yeah, we are ready. I named the slides like why we are using Go, and want to discuss this question with some cakes today with you and make a photo. Yep, I'm done. Let's gather and celebrate. Yeah. Where is our?
Я би ще хотів додати то, що на конференції на .go діє промокодик від GoLang.ua, і люди, ідіть в Telegram, подивіться, там все пише, я просто не пам'ятаю його на пам'ять.
Я дуже хочу подякувати сьогоднішній команді Радіону, Андріані, Богдану за те, що підтримали цей івент, зібралися, ночами не спали, вранці вставали, проганяли. Це було дуже прикольно, я вам всім дуже дякую, що ви теж знайшли час, прийшли.
Я думаю, що вам це подобається і корисно, і приєднуйтесь до нас ще більше, і будемо робити більше топіків. Perfect. Я хочу фотку з усіма вами і з тортиком.